All right, so today is the day that we get rid of the KLX 250 here. It's been a good bike. I love tooling around in it, but just doesn't have a lot of power when you're out on the highway. So anytime that I've thought, hey, let me just run to the store real quick and ride this, it's just pretty underpowered and not very good for highway driving at all. It's just a 250, so it's to be expected, but I'm gonna switch it up and try to get something a little bit more, a little heftier. Even just riding two up on this is kind of like, you can tell the bike is struggling a little bit, but we'll see if the new one is any different. But this is the last day. But I love this bike. I love it. I think it's super cool. I like the black camo graphics here. I think that it's been an excellent bike, honestly, and I'm kind of sad to see it go. If I could, I would keep it as well, but that's not how this is going to turn out. Right now, I'm about to embark on a journey riding this on the interstate, so that's going to be pretty eventful, I think. So we'll see how that goes. I don't really ride while talking, but I'll give you guys my input once I get off. I think it's about 80 miles per hour or 75 miles per hour on the interstate, so I doubt it's going to be able to do that. It can't hardly do 60, on regular roads, not safely anyway, or not confidently, I should say. So we'll see how it operates on the interstate, trying to do 70 miles an hour, but that'll be the mission for today. So I'm going to get on here and see what happens. That actually sounds
not bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Me personally, I like a really hearty engine noise, so I probably would swap out the price myself.
Yeah. But that's still pretty dang good,
it's nice,
right?
Yeah. It's not a sewing machine. That's
No. Compared to this, right? I'm gonna turn this on. But this is designed well. I like the design. That's what got me before anything else. It's vintage, like a classic vintage type deal look to it.
Agreed.
Like European. I mean, it just looks.
I remember my first motorcycle I was buying, I was looking online at spikes and stuff, like what's good used, what's good da-da-da.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was really thinking was actually this bike, and then I found out it was new, and I was like, oh, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
And then I started working here, I was like, yeah, okay, I could have afforded it.
Yeah. It looks expensive, right?
Yeah, I should have looked into it. Like, I just saw, brand new,
Yeah.
I can't afford brand new.
Like, take a badge, right? Remove the Royal Enfield badge and put BMW on it.
BMW,
yeah,
right?
or Ducati or something like that. They're gonna try to sell it to you for $1 million. All right, guys, so I just picked up that motorcycle behind me, 2023 Royal Enfield Himalayan. I traded in my Kawasaki KLX 250S, and it was kind of tough because I love that Kawasaki. It's a nice little tool around kind of bike. Really sucks when you're on the highway or anything like that. As a matter of fact, just driving it to the dealership, I had to get on the interstate, and you're talking what, 75, 80 miles an hour, and it will only do like 65 or 68, but then you start to feel like you're really, it's not meant to be at 68, but it'll do it, but it's not meant to be out there. And it also takes a little bit of time getting out there, etc. But not the ideal motorcycle for the highway, but just riding around the farm or tooling around when you're out camping, which is what I got it for, putting it on the back of an RV or on the back of the pickup truck, anything like that. It kind of works out real good for that, right? A rescue vehicle when you're out in the boondocks and then you need to get away or you need to go to the grocery store to pick up something. Perfect for all those scenarios. But riding two up, riding on the interstate, highways, anything like that, it's not quite meant for that. So I decided to pick up something a little bit different. So everybody rants and raves about these Himalayans, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get one. So I got myself a 2023 Himalayan, and I'm gonna say this first. I love the way these motorcycles look. They look really nice, like European, you know, Ducati-ish, vintage-ish. Like something about them just appeals to me. So I like that about it. The moment I saw it, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get that. And driving it on the highway, it's more meant to be there, more so than the KLX 250. But it's nothing compared to, like, you know, my BMW F850 GS, for example. You know, it's bigger and it feels more comfortable on the highway, or more so, it just feels like it's meant to be on there more than the Himalayan. But even at that, I like that it sits lower. I feel more in control of it. And I'm not gonna say it's better than an F850 GS, because, you know, I think the internet will break if I was to say that. But honestly, I think I enjoyed riding it on the interstate more than I do that BMW motorcycle of mine. And it's very weird to say. Even as I'm saying it, I'm trying to question myself. I'm like, well, did you? And I honestly think I did. But anyways, this is not a comparison between those two motorcycles. This is just my first review of the motorcycle. How was it riding it? I loved riding it on the highway. I liked riding it on the highway. Liked it more than the KLX 250. It rode pretty good, right? It picks up speed just fine. It doesn't have a shortage of power, you know, to get up to speed. You're not going to feel like you're struggling, all right? So absolutely good. Impressed with that. I like the exhaust note. Kind of did something at the dealership when we picked it up. I started it up. I can play that right now. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good exhaust note for a factory exhaust system, right? But I'm going to flip the camera around here and kind of just give you guys a little walk around off the motorcycle as we continue to talk. So here it is right here. And I should have parked it next to the BMW just so you guys could see them side by side, but honestly, very nicely created, like industrial looking. I like all the exoskeleton kind of look. I really like that, right? Whether you want to call that industrial or what you want to call that, but very, very nice. It looks like somebody took their time to actually design this motorcycle, right? It's not just, you know, it wasn't just, you know, they didn't just try to copy something else. It's like something actually brand new. So really, really impressed about that. And I like the fact that it comes standard with some things that are not standard on some motorcycles, right? Especially in this adventure, and I'm doing quotes, adventure area. It's you know, it's got the center stand right there. Okay, you can ride two up, of course. All right, comes standard with a battery tender right there. I guess nobody removed this for me, but I'm not sure if they just installed it at the dealership, now that I'm thinking about it, but it does have a battery tender right here. What else do we have here? All right, I like this. I like the structure of these being on the outside. The crash bars, that looks really nice. I like the big size of the tires. That really helps you get over obstacles when you're off-road. So that's a nice size tire right there. I'm trying to look at the size. It's a 90-21. So you can zoom in right there. But 90-21. And yeah, it's an Indian brand tire. So it's nothing that we are going to be familiar with in the US, but just everything about this, like the way it's constructed, single cylinder of course, but it just looks really, really nice. So I like the name Royal Enfield Himalayan. I think it used to be a British company and then it got sold to the Indians, but if you were to take that name off and put something that people are more familiar with, KTM, Ducati, BMW, or something like that, this would be selling for way more than what it sells for right now. This is what, $5,400 for this motorcycle in the US at the shooting of this video right now. So it's not an expensive motorcycle. It's pretty, I don't know, I don't want to say cheap, but as far as motorcycles go, it's not a bad price at all. I think a brand new KLX 250 or 300 is about or the KLX 250 anyway, is about 5,600 or 800, but definitely you can get more motorcycles or less motorcycles for more money. Up here in the front, it looks like they still have regular old bulbs in there. There's no LEDs, so that kind of sucks. But that's something that you can easily change. It looks like this is just one of those regular size, I don't know, 8-inch headlights or something like that. A typical run-off-the-mill size there. And yeah, the seat is fine enough. It's an interesting material. I'm not sure what they call that. It's not quite leather. I don't know if it's leather or not, but it looks like cloth, but it's not cloth. So it's got to be some kind of leather of some sort, but I'm not sure exactly what that is. But as I use the motorcycle and I get more familiar with it, I'll shoot some more videos, of course. But chain drive, of course. And then coming up in here, that's where you got your fuel. The gauge cluster up here is actually pretty cool. I like, it's very almost aeronautical. You know, I like having that over there. I do miss having a digital though, because I kept looking down here. I'm like, how fast am I going? It's like trying to read an analog clock after having a digital watch for so long. So it's interesting, some getting used to. And then you got your tack over there and fuel gauge. Not sure what that little guy is down there. Let's turn it on, see if we can't figure that out. Okay, that's the gear selector. So G1 is first gear, and then and neutral, and then it goes up to 5. So you got 5 gears in this. But over here you've got your time, which still needs to be corrected because it's not 3:50 a.m. Your odometer, you can see it's still new. And then it's got an indicator actually to show that the side stand is still down. That's actually pretty interesting. But yeah, turn that off. But nice enough bike. Over here you've got your brights, right? Your flash to pass, I guess is what they call it. You got your high beams, low beams, signals, left and right to turn. You got your horn down here. All right, so up here you've got your kill switch, all right? And run to start. You got your button right there. You got some hazards. And what else do we have that's of note on here? I think that's about it. The windshield, riding with the windshield, it's not bad. It does block out some wind, right? It's not like it blocks out a whole lot because it's not that huge, right? But it does actually make a difference. So that was nice having that, even though it seems kind of small. Let's move on. We're gonna move on to some of the bad things right now. Some of the things that when I was riding kind of came to me and I'm like, okay, this kind of sucks a little bit. So one of the first things is some of the materials, right? Some of the fit and finish. It's just like, you know that it's a little cheaper than, you know, other motorcycles. You can see this switch right here, right? Kind of has a little bit of like just not shaved properly. It's got a little bit of plastic there, and I know I'm nitpicking it, but these are things that when you pay $5,000 for a motorcycle, I guess you're supposed to expect. So that's not the point. The point is that does exist. It's $5,000, and there's a reason why it's $5,000, right? And I think some of that is finishes like that. What else here? I'm a little bit over 6 foot, and these mirrors are horrible, absolutely horrible. You cannot see anything out of them. Like, I have to duck in order to try to see anything in these mirrors. The adjustability is very minuscule, right? It doesn't move back or forward, right? You can see this is the pivot point right here. So that's all your movements right there. So a little bit that way, a little bit that way, a little bit up, and a little bit down. That's it. And they're small, okay? So it's not only that they don't move a lot, but they're also very small. And so when you're sitting in here trying to adjust them to actually be able to see anything is actually pretty impossible. So that's one thing immediately that made me very upset, because it's a safety issue, right? And they could have done a better job with that. That's easy enough to do better with that. So that was very annoying. The second thing I found interesting is the way you sit on this motorcycle, right? I'm gonna pipe some video here of me sitting on it when I picked it up at the dealership. So my very first motorcycle was a Kawasaki Ninja ZX600R, right? So the way you sat on that is very reminiscent on this motorcycle, right? These pegs, when I'm sitting at my height anyway, my legs actually V a whole lot more than on that Kawasaki KLX 250 or on the BMW motorcycle. So when I'm sitting in here, my knees are bent a whole lot more, all right? And I actually kind of like it. I kind of like that more aggressive posture. It's interesting then with having the bars in that position though, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to ride it around a little bit longer just to kind of get an idea of how much I'm gonna like that or not like that. But honestly, I prefer that riding position on a sport bike. And so riding it on a bike like this was kind of interesting because you feel like you should be a little bit more relaxed, but then your knees are in that pretty aggressive posture right there. That's honestly about it right now. I'm gonna ride 2 up, give you guys some feedback of what that feels like. And I'll actually try to take a camera on the road. I don't usually do that because, you know, the audio is never usually that good. So I try to write it and then give impressions after the fact. But I'm gonna try to take a camera on the road with me and kind of give you some of these things as they're happening. And we'll see what happens with that. But I'll be shooting a little bit more video on this. Hopefully I actually like it enough to keep it for any length of time. The KLX that it's replacing was supposed to go on the back of an RV, right? That RV right there, or the back of a pickup, so that you know, when you go camping, you just have another vehicle that you can use in case something happens, right? So that's where this is supposed to go. It weighs in at a little bit over 400 pounds, 439 pounds or something like that. So it's not light. That Kawasaki was 100 and some or 200 and some. I'll put the exact numbers in the description here, but it's a little bit heavier, almost twice as heavy, I guess. But I'm still thinking but it's still lighter than the BMW, which I'd gotten with that in mind, but that BMW is way too heavy for that. So this here is about 100 and some pounds lighter than the BMW. It's a little bit smaller dimension-wise as well. The handlebars don't go out quite as far. And I'll do a video where I'm kind of measuring some of these things for you guys so you can kind of see, you know, see them, because I know when I'm shopping, these are the things I'm looking for. So when I shoot these videos, I try to make sure that I at least talk about some of that stuff. So for right now though, this is the Royal Enfield or Enfield Himalayan or Himalayan, depending on where you're from and how you say that. And that's about it for right now. More video to come. Peace.